Once upon a time, in the big and vibrant village of Kumasi, there lived a young man named Kwame. Kwame was the fourth child of his father, but his mother's first son. Kwame's father, John, had married 2 wives, and they all lived in one house. Sadly, because Kwame's father badly wanted a male child, and when Kwame's mother, his first wife, could not give him a male child on time, he went ahead to marry another woman. Growing up, Kwame's house wasn't exactly peaceful because he and his half-siblings were always fighting, and his mother was always having issues with his stepmother. It wasn't like Kwame's mother, Anne, was the problem. Anne was a very peaceful woman, but Kwame's stepmother always looked for her trouble. She would deliberately do things to piss off Anne and then play victim. Unfortunately, because of the constant problems, Kwame's stepmother decided to find a spiritual means to kill Kwame's mother, and in the end, she succeeded. As a result of his mother's untimely death, Kwame and his siblings had to move in with their aunt who stayed in Accra, and they were raised there. With Kwame and his siblings out of the picture, Kwame's stepmother took over the home and she turned John's heart against his other children. While in Accra, Kwame did all he could to support his aunt. Whenever he was not in school or doing chores at home, he would hawk different kinds of fruits for sale to help support his aunt financially. This continued for many years until Kwame got into the university. Luckily for him, because he had performed so well in his secondary school, his school principal offered to take care of his first year in the university. With the financial responsibilities taken care of, Kwame focused on his studies, and as God would have it, he got a scholarship that took care of his books, feeding and even accommodation until he graduated from the university. After graduation, Kwame took a job as a waiter in a popular Accra bar, and in the process of serving customers, he met a lady named Esther who liked him instantly. A few weeks after Esther and Kwame met, they began dating, and after a month, Esther began complaining about his kind of job. "Babe, I don't really like what you're doing. Allow me talk to my father so he can give you a role in his company. You are a very brilliant man and you don't belong in a bar." No, you have already done so much for me in a short while. I don't want any more. But I insist. I won't lie. I love you very much, and if we were to settle down together in the future, your salary will not do anything for us. You need something better. I understand. That's why I'm still applying for other jobs. As soon as I get a better one, I'll leave the bartending job. Okay, I understand that you don't want me to talk to my father. But do you promise to apply for any job opening? I really want better for you. Yes, if there's a job opening that I'm eligible for, I'll apply. But I do not want you to talk to your dad on my behalf. I want to earn whatever I get. All right, I'll keep you posted. Surprisingly, 3 days after Esther had that conversation with Kwame, there was an opening in her father's company and she pushed Kwame to apply for it. Even though Kwame was a bit suspicious that the job opening matched all of his qualifications and skills, he didn't question Esther about it. He just applied for it, and luckily for him, he got it. The best part was that the job had a very good pay and other bonuses, and in the twinkling of an eye, Kwame's life changed for the better. Because of his new job, he moved out of the miserable single room he lived in and moved into a luxury 1-bedroom apartment. He also changed his wardrobe, and his whole life transformed totally. He was also able to financially support his aged aunt who raised him and his younger siblings. In the months that followed, Kwame and Esther had the best lives. They would go on vacations, go to fancy restaurants and travel wherever they wanted to. Precisely after 2 years of dating, Kwame decided it was time to propose to the woman of his dreams, and she said yes. "Babe, now that we have started planning our wedding, don't you think we should tell your father and stepmother?" "No, I don't want anything to do with him or my evil stepmother. If I need someone to stand as my father, my aunt's husband will do that. because he was the one who played the role of a father in my life. Come on, babe. It can't be that bad. Even if he were a deadbeat father, that doesn't mean I shouldn't get to know him. He is still my father-in-law to be, and I really want to meet him, even if it's just once. I'd like to meet your stepmother and your half-siblings too. Darling, please do not push it. It's better we leave them out of this. It's my marriage and I get to decide who attends or not. But what will people say? How will your father be alive and another man sits as your father? You know our tradition forbids it. Our tradition did not forbid him abandoning 3 children and taking care of his other wife's children. Where was tradition when I was out in the streets hawking under the sun and in the rain just to support my kind aunt? Where was tradition when his second wife killed my mother and she advised him to send us out of the house because she claimed we were witches? Please, take it easy. It has not gotten to that. I was only suggesting, even if you don't want him at your wedding, at least let me meet him and your stepmother. My dear, you won't understand. Please stop insisting. Those people are evil and I want nothing to do with them. So, you won't change your mind even because of me? Even if we meet them for one day? I think that as your wife-to-be, I have the right to know who your father is, especially since we are about to become one family. Oh, you don't understand. I'm trying my best to avoid anything that will join me with them. I've not been home in years, and going there might bring back those bad memories. Please, think about it. Even though Kwame had made up his mind that he wanted nothing to do with his father or stepmother, after a lot of thinking, he decided that he would take his wife-to-be to meet his father, even though his father had been horrible to him during his childhood. About a week after Esther begged to see Kwame's parents, Kwame decided to take her to Kumasi to meet his father. Sadly, they drove in Kwame's expensive car, and it ended up being one of his mistakes. Upon arriving at his father's compound, Kwame was shocked to see his half-brothers, who were way older than him, still staying with their mother. In fact, they looked so miserable and it was very obvious that they had not done anything meaningful with their lives. Since Kwame had not been home in years and he had not informed his father that he was coming home, everyone was shocked to see him when he drove inside the compound. Kwame, my son! Is that you? Kwame's stepmother asked in shock when she saw Kwame come out of his car, and Kwame nodded. Deep down, even though Kwame didn't like the idea of going back to visit his father, he prayed in his heart that his stepmother would still be alive so she could see how much he had succeeded despite being chased out of the house at a young age. When Kwame's father realized that Kwame was richer than all of his other children put together, he treated him differently and even pretended like he had missed him. My dear, please go and make something good for our son. He has not been home in years. No, Papa, please don't worry about that. I actually came here because I wanted to introduce my fiancé to you and to invite all of you for my wedding that is coming up soon. You are getting married? Can you take care of a woman? It's not by driving your boss's car to impress us. One of Kwame's half-brothers said with a tone of hate. That's not my boss's car. It's one of my cars. And yes, I can take care of a woman. I work in one of the biggest companies in Accra, so I can afford to get married. So, when is the wedding? Your wife looks like a good girl. It's next month, Ma. That's good. I thank God that He has given us something to celebrate in this family. Hey, I'm also happy for you, Kwame, because my prayers have been answered. Every day and night, I prayed for God to protect you and your siblings. Hey, there's no problem, my son. We will come. I am happy that one of my children is finally getting married. Thank you, Papa. After informing his father and stepmother about his marriage, Kwame returned back to Accra. Sadly, his return to Accra from Kumasi was the beginning of his problems. That same night when he got home, he had a bad dream. In that dream, An invisible hand dragged his car keys out of his hand. The strange part was that, even though Kwame couldn't see the hand, he could feel it struggling with him. Unfortunately, because Kwame didn't think the dream had any meaning, he forgot about it and moved on with his life. However, later that week, the most unexpected thing happened. One evening, while Kwame was driving on an express road at a high speed, his car suddenly went off and he got involved in a terrible accident that nearly claimed his life. The craziest part was that, after he had that accident, his stepmother called him to check on him, and when she heard that Kwame was still alive, she ended the call. Even with the accident he had, Kwame did not think that his stepmother or his half-siblings had anything to do with it. He just believed his car was faulty. Sadly, when the first plan didn't work, Kwame's stepmother decided to take things to another level. Roughly 3 weeks to his wedding, Kwame had another bad dream, and this time it was worse. He had a dream where he was sitting in a strange barber's shop he didn't recognize. Then suddenly, an invisible hand began cutting his hair with a clipper. He could see the clipper moving on his head, but he couldn't see the hand that held it. For some reason, Kwame sat still on that chair until all the hair on his head had been removed. And immediately everything was removed, Kwame woke up from that dream with a terrible headache that wouldn't stop. At first, he thought the headache was as a result of stressing himself too much and running around for the wedding. But when a week passed and the headache had not stopped for one day, instead it got worse and worse, Kwame began looking for medical help. Strangely, when he got checked at the hospital, the doctor said he didn't have any issues and they advised him to take some pain relief medication. Sadly, even that could not help him. It even reached a point where Kwame could not get out of bed because of the excruciating pain he felt. And at the same time, it seemed like everything was working against him. When they couldn't get a solution on time, they were forced to postpone their wedding until further notice. Luckily for Kwame, he had a pastor friend whom God had revealed what was happening to him, and through non-stop intercession, the evil arrow that had been fired into his body returned to his stepmother. Just 2 days after Kwame's friend prayed intensely for Kwame, he received news from his father that his stepmother had passed away in her sleep. But before she passed away, she had been complaining of a headache the whole evening. Apart from the revelation from his pastor friend, that was how Kwame confirmed that his stepmother was behind his affliction. In the end, Kwame and Esther got married, but Kwame swore he would never have anything to do with his father or half-siblings ever in life, and he cut them off completely. The end. Did you enjoy this story? Tell us your favorite parts in the comment section below. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Also, do not forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.